Talk Radio.
What are those?
Welcome to the war room. We got Dev, Kill, Jimmy, PJ, B. Austin, the hot block commander. Give it to you how you want it in a 1 or 2 hour show to keep the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level. Bold with the topics, sort of like some rebels. When it's game time, they like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerates speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4th and 26, so the war in Kuwait. It's the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, diversified and educated.
What up, sports fans? You are once again live in the War Room, brought to you by War Room Sports on that WRS Podcast Network. I'm Devin McMillan. I'm at the round table with my brother Jimmy the Blueprint and our younger bro, Chris, the intern. What up, Chris?
What's up?
NBA free agency is taking some crazy turns, and the summer league has started as well. So we'll discuss this stuff and a whole lot more. So keep it locked right here. If you want to get in on the live conversation, join us right now in the JW Philly Realty chat room at blogtalkradio.com/the War Room, or join us on Facebook or Twitter at War Room Sports. You can also call us directly in about 30 minutes when we open up the Digital Extreme Tech hotline. That number, as usual, is 323-410-0012. But before we get started, make sure you remember to make the War Room Sports Podcast Network a constant in your life. We're not live on the air. Visit warroomsports.com. Click the WRS Podcast Network tab or listen on the War Room Sports mobile app or on iTunes. We have just been added to TuneIn Radio. So you if you have the TuneIn app, or if you go to their website to listen to music and podcasts on the regular, find the War Room because we're on that as well. You'll find some of the best shows the web has to offer on our network, sports and non-sports. And you can listen to archived episodes of our show, The War Room, The Broad Street Line with Roy and Chris, After Further Review with the Mayor, The Tissue and Tape Hip Hop Show with Phil and Savage, Sports Trap Radio with Brandon and Anthony, The Mad Scientist Sports Lab with Nick Ficarelli, and a whole lot more. So shout out to all of those great hosts. You can also check the listings at fatsradio.com for syndicated airtimes of all your favorite WRSPN sports shows, including our show, The War Room, which airs over there a few times per week. What up, fellas? We got Confederate flag business, Bill Cosby looking guiltier, Drea's wedding being called off because she's important, James Martin booed up Khloe Kardashian. Fellas, how's the week been for y'all, man?
Yo, I just want to say for me, it's been wild because, you know, we spend all our time on the internets and you have story after story after story seeming to come out these days. We live in the information age. And I just find it funny how in life there are a lot of distractions. But I just want to tell everybody out there that Jared won't distract me from Cosby. Cosby won't distract me from South Carolina. Like, I know how to compartmentalize things and I know how to disrespect everybody, including the shooter, including Bill Cosby, and including Jared. Like, it's just crazy story after crazy story. But the bottom line is, yo, there's a lot of slander to be going around, which is why I'm so glad that we have this platform every Thursday to talk filthy about some of these scumbags.
No doubt. We got Chris the intern. That's his nickname, everybody. Chris the intern. Sun Devil in the building once again. What's going on, Chris? How's your week going?
It's good. It's good. Getting a lot of things done, so it's pretty good.
Cool.
Oh, and by the way, everybody, Chris goes to Arizona State, and he informed me that all the rumors you heard were true.
I can't verify that.
He's like, yeah, I cannot confirm nor deny anything Jimmy's saying right now. All right, man. So let's get into some sports, man. Well, at least let's get into the crazy stuff that happened before we get to the X and O's like we usually do. So, Jimmy, let everybody know what happened this week while they were on the grind.
Absolutely. And for those who don't know why you were on the grind, it's brought to you by DirecTV. If you like a better TV experience than cable has to offer, including NFL Sunday Ticket, go to our website, warroomsports.com, and click on that DirecTV logo and order a better TV experience at a discounted War Room Sports sign-up rate. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to have DirecTV.
Yes, sir.
Listen, man, so many stories happened while you were on the grind, but let's start out with former Eagles quarterback Donovan F. McNabb. He was arrested again for a Dewey. That's a DUI for those who are not in the know. This is a second Dewey recently. A lot of people were worried about Donovan. His actual mugshot, he looked good and toasty. But what's going on with McNabb? McNabb was like always a mama's boy. Like, where's Wilma at? Like, she kept him. You know, for all the trash we talk about McNabb in terms of what he did on the field, he stayed out of trouble in this kind of nonsense. So what's going on with Donovan?
Wilma, I don't know. Like this is his second DUI in the last 18 months. Like Donovan McNabb, like you said, during his whole 12-year career, he was great about keeping his nose clean and staying out of trouble. The only type of trouble he'd ever gotten in was just saying stupid stuff that could make his teammates upset. But even they always took the high road because they know if you cross Donovan, you probably get cut. So it's crazy to see this, but like you were saying, Jimmy, it's a lot of people coming out that's close to him saying that this is actually a problem now. These aren't isolated events, and you know your man T.O. took the opportunity to be self-righteous and try to tell Donovan like we're still role models, so you shouldn't be doing this type of stuff. So I know T.O. loved being able to say something to Donovan about this.
He couldn't wait to get in front of a microphone.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris? Like, first of all, Chris, were you a McNabb fan? You an Eagles fan?
Nah, I'm not an Eagles fan. I'm a Steelers fan. I'm not a big McNabb fan.
Okay, well, I'm an Eagles fan, and I'm not a big McNabb fan either. But what do you think about his latest transgressions?
I don't know. This is like the second time in like the last month, I think, or like close to it. So I mean, it really is a problem. And before, when they pulled him over, he tried to put in cough drops in his mouth. So I mean,
he tried to cover up the liquor smell with some cough drops.
Yeah, I mean, he thought it was gonna work, but I mean, he needs to get some help though.
Yeah, the cop said I noticed a strong fruity odor on his breath. I mean, it's Donovan. That could be something else. But he also said he noticed Donovan's eyes were watery and very bloodshot, and his speech was slurred. This is crazy, like, because he rear-ended a car driven by wife of a Gila River tribal police officer. So that just made things worse. Like, you're drunk, you rear-end a car, and then this happens to be the car of somebody in law enforcement. So, you know, McNabb, get your act together, man. This is not you. I mean, throwing dirt balls and stuff like that, that's you. But getting in trouble off the field, he's no longer on the field, but getting in trouble away from work, it just wasn't him. So, you know, I'm not really understanding what's going on here. It could have something to do with the fact that he tried to get back into the league to no avail. So I don't know, maybe drinking away the pain or something. But Donovan, shame to yourself, Donovan.
Yo, that's very sad, man. How about this story, guys? Orlando Sandrick, he called off his wedding to reality star Drea. And you guys remember we talked about Drea maybe a month ago because she had like a little interaction with Jameis Winston in which she played his life away. Now there are rumors that the reason this was broke off because somehow her and Jameis kept in contact, and he was sending her schlong pics, and the boy found out. I mean that's allegedly, but either way, he broke off the engagement. He broke off the engagement, took back the engagement ring, which was about $400K. And she was just like salty grits on Twitter because Black Twitter went in on her. What do you guys think about this whole fiasco?
Yo, but Orlando Sandrick went in on her as well. Like the stuff that he was saying. Crazy part about that is now he's kind of like backing off his comments. He actually put out a statement. He said, "I want to apologize for my original statement. I let my emotions fly impulsively. Drea is a great mother, works hard, and I wish her nothing but the best. I still love her."
All right, now, Chris, I just want to give you a little bit of game, Chris, because you're still in college, you're doing your thing, you know, you're growing to be a great young man. I just want to give you a little bit of game. Stay away from Twitter when you're pissed, because the one thing I can say, right, is I'm glad that we didn't have Twitter when we were younger. You know what I mean? In high school or even when we first went away to college, because dudes like the front like they tough, but we've all been in our emotional bag where females pissed you off. and you might fly off the deep end and say all kinds of stuff, and then the next day you'd be like, "Oh, I really said that." You know what I mean?
And it's out there.
Yeah,
Because if you're raised the right way, then you realize like, damn, I made a mistake. So, and once you put it out there on the internet, it's there forever, man. So all I want to say to you, Chris, is stay away from Twitter when you're pissed.
Right.
Man, yeah, I got to, man. My emotions, you never know, sometimes things just slip out, so.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Then, Chris, you won't be, in the media afterwards giving statements and apologizing to the person that did you wrong. He also said, I purchased the ring. I proposed. There was no cheating involved. We just couldn't make it work. So somebody advised him to say the right things. Maybe Dre is that powerful. His handler said, yo, you don't want to cross her like that. Make nice. Even if you're not going to be with her, make nice. So who knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah, man. And the thing is, females know how to press your buttons. But then again, if you're getting schlong pics, I mean, that's not really pressing nobody's buttons. That's just being savage. But with that being said, though, man, like you got
Jameis Winston, Jimmy. Jameis Winston was making her love come down.
Music makes my love. Yo, shout out to Evelyn Champagne King. But yo, the thing about that is we clown Jameis, but Jameis somehow got in her DMs, man. So shout out to Jameis, man, because you haven't took one snap yet, but you are always in something, man. He's always into something, man. And then maybe it's that FSU. We'll talk about that in a minute. Florida State. Before we get to that story, though, let's talk about Russell Wilson and Ciara, right? They're allegedly a couple, and they made news this week because it came out that they decided to next until they're married. But the reason I say allegedly, I keep it a bean. Like I've seen rumors on multiple blog sites now. Take it how you want to, because it's a blog site, and sometimes blogs are trolls. That Russell Wilson and Ciara are beards. That they both have other issues, but this union makes them more profitable as a couple. Well, who knows what the truth is? But what do you think about the big fuss about them not having sex? Like, why do people care that much?
Well, I mean, I don't know why people would care as much, because it's not that deep to me. But I guess, Russell Wilson said it, and he was a little dramatic, I'm not gonna say it's dramatic, but he was saying that God talked to him and all that. So that was part of the story, helped spice it up a little bit.
Hey, Chris, you're right, man. You ain't gotta take that back. You can say whatever you want on here. He's dramatic. He's looking for it to be a story. I like Russell Wilson, but he's crafting his image right now, and he already has a reputation for being a God-fearing man. And I caught the fact that when Jimmy said they were a couple, he said allegedly, because there have been some rumors floating around that this relationship was kind of a front, kind of a sham from the start, because Russell Wilson might, and this is allegedly also, this is just whispers we've heard in the industry, that he might have a secret that he's trying to hide. And a lot of that stuff came out when he was going through the divorce proceedings with his wife. Now we know, angry women put stuff out there like that. This is not the first time, and I'm not even saying it definitely came from her, but it just happened to be good timing at going through a divorce. Then all of a sudden you're hearing rumors about Russell Wilson possibly being gay. But yeah, this is something, and I'm not gonna knock anybody for talking about it, because we're talking about it. There's a lot of people who are talking about it, but at the same time talking about how much they don't care. If you didn't care at all, then you wouldn't be talking about it. This is kind of our job, so this is something that we have to talk about. Well, I guess we don't have to, but it's all about what Chris said, Jim. He's kind of dramatic. He's crafting his image, so
yeah. At the end of the day, I found it interesting because I saw like the religious debate all on Twitter. I saw Bomani and Chris Broussard go at it, but it was just very interesting to see people react that way. And like you said, we talk about it because it is what it is. If he is crafting his image, then God bless him. Let him do that. He already got his ring. So now at this point, he's going for the gusto, trying to make as much money as humanly possible, get as many endorsements as humanly possible. And if he uses her to do that, then so be it. Because at the end of the day, guess what? This is helping her too. Because Ciara has been passed around from rapper to rapper. So, it's somehow in the entertainment industry, when you stop messing with rappers and you mess with athletes, it's somehow like a step up. That's how it's looked at. You know what I mean? Like that's how it's looked at. But in the words of Sean Corey Carter, I don't know what you thought. They foul just like us. And that's the truth.
Yo, if Russell making that deal that we're not going, and the thing is, nobody says that they haven't yet. He just said, you know, we're not going to do that now. But if he gonna go like that, I would also tell her, like, I'm not taking care of Future's baby until we're married either. Like we're in a trial period. Everything is everything.
Yo.
But what he said, he was like, quote, so I told her right then and there, what would you do if we did it Jesus's way? I knew that God had brought me into her life to bless her. Damn, cocky ball. And for her to bless me and to bless so many people. So that's why they're not having sex, because God brought Russell Wilson into Sierra's life to bless her.
Come on, man. God had his own.
He's not blessing her with certain things, but he's blessing her.
Mary and Matt, I'm not gonna get into a religious thing here because I don't want to get no hate mail. But all I'm gonna say is y'all keep fronting like Jesus ain't get it in, and you know I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I read all of Dan Brown's books. But anyway, with all that being said, man, let's move on to the next story before I start getting some hate mail, man. I'm gonna chill with that.
Oh, it's coming already. It's too late.
We talked about Jameis Winston, man, but I don't know what's going on with Florida State. But their freshman quarterback, DeAndre Johnson, was dismissed from team after he basically sucker punched it. I didn't want to say sucker punch because there wasn't a sucker punch. He looked at dead eyes.
She saw it coming. She was just too slow.
So that was like that was like the Tombstone. Remember the movie Tombstone? What you gonna do? You gonna do something? You gonna stay in there and bleed? You gonna do something? You gonna stay in there and bleed? Like he stole her. Now allegedly again, people who were there said that she used the N-word to him and he hit her. Now that's no excuse for that, especially for that kind of hit. But the funniest thing, I don't even want to say it's funny because it was actually sad. I was watching the news and Joe Scarborough comes on MSNBC. And the boy actually made a statement. He was like, who does he think he is that he can hit a blonde woman? I'm like, damn, the fact that she was blonde, like, that matters? Like,
yo, he said anyway, blonde?
He said,
so what he really wanted to say is, who does he think he is hitting on a white woman? That's what he
exactly. Yo, he said this on live TV. I'm going to try to find a YouTube clip because I know someone caught it. He said, who does he think he is that he can hit a blonde? I'm like, yo. But,
yeah, so the situation, like, the video, it was crazy. It escalated really quickly. And I don't know. It seems like his side of the story, his camp is at least saying it's clear from the video that he wasn't the initial aggressor. But I don't know, man. I watched the video over and over again, and of course, there's no sound, so you don't really know what's going on. But it kind of looked like he pushed his way to the bar, not really caring who was there, who he bumped, or whatever he did. Then he and the girl started to have words. I don't know what she actually said to make him kind of like grab her. Then she tried to swing at him with some weak punch, and then he just hit her with the counter joint that was like the one-hitter quitter. Now, I don't think, like, no matter what she said or what she did, the way he hit that woman was not necessary at all. Not even to subdue her. He already had her by the arms. He was obviously stronger than her. He could have subdued her and got out of the situation without doing what he did. So it's really no excuse. And I know as a black man, we have that card to play. So I don't know whether or not she really called him the N-word or not, but that always comes out, especially when people catch something on video that doesn't have any audio. That's kind of the card we pull. And hey, rightfully so. But if she really did, that's terrible, but it's still no reason to punch that girl in the face like that. So either way, he's wrong. He has been dismissed from the
Here's the one thing that concerns me, right? And it's sort of like the same conversation I have anytime that a police officer, shoots an African American or does something crazy. At this point, don't you just assume that you're always being recorded? And at this point, with so many things that happen, it's like, even if you are the kind of guy that hits a woman, which is terrible, shouldn't you be like, yo, I got something to lose? Like, you saw what happened to Ray Rice. Didn't you think they would make an example of you? Right. I mean, are you that delusional that you think your talent can get you out of everything? I mean, at this point, we live in a world where information flows fast, and because of social media, like, stories catch legs, and organizations are faced with no other alternative but to get rid of you. Why don't you? That's what bothers me. It's like, yo, Ray Rice was made an example out of. Chris Brown, they made an example out of him. You know what I mean? Like,
and Jim, like you said, is all about the recording too. I mean, because like he left Florida State in a position where they could do nothing but dismiss him from the team. They probably didn't want to, but you're on camera doing this, so this puts the pressure on them. Because we know damn well, these big universities don't really care about what guys are doing.
In the words of Scarborough and the visuals, you're a big black athlete, pause, punching a blonde. I mean, they're going to make an example out of you. I mean, even with the whole Chris Brown thing, a lot of people don't remember this, but when Chris Brown, when that thing happened with him and Rihanna, that same week, Christian Bale got locked up. He beat up his girlfriend and his mom. But no one even remembers that story, but you saw what happened to Chris Brown. So my thing is, I'm not trying to play the race card either, but you got to be smarter than that, dog. Like, you got to be smarter than that. Like, yo, come on, man. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You learn, man. I hope the dude get some help. And chill, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, man. Chris, what you think, Chris?
What do you think, Chris?
I mean, I don't think he should have hit her. Like, she didn't deserve to get hit like that. But I mean, she's not like the victim. Like, I mean, I feel like everyone's making her like the victim. But I mean, she did have some involvement in it. Like, she shouldn't have got punched, but she did, like, provoke him and everything. So I mean, she's not the victim.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's one of those things because
Chris sound like Sean Connery right now.
But no, it's one of those things though, because like I'm saying, there's never an excuse to do that. But at the same time, when you look at it from a woman's perspective, we know what men are supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do. But you never know when you're dealing with a dude who can care less about, gender etiquette. So you can't go swinging on dudes because you don't know which one of those dudes just gives no F's and is going to hit you back. So yeah, like I'm in no way blaming it on her for what she got, but at the same time, yeah, you have to realize everybody doesn't follow society's rules, so you got to be careful. There's some crazy dudes.
Dev, you sound like Stephen A. right now, so Anyway,
I know they gonna get there.
Yeah, man, that's just a terrible situation. All I'm saying is be smart out there. You have a lot to lose, man. You know what I'm saying? So, and he lost a lot already. And the funny thing about this is, this is one of those things where it's going to travel with him for the rest of his life. Even if he gets help, he gets himself together, ends up becoming a star player. This is going to be with him. And that's the thing about making decisions. Once you get to a certain level, see, Chris, it's me giving more game now. When you get to a certain level, like you're a college student. So you literally have something to lose at this point. So you're working towards something. Don't let anyone get you so emotional that you lose whatever it is you're working for. So I actually feel sorry for him. I hope he gets help, man. But you live and you learn. You become a better person for it, man. But let's move on. We have some birthday shout outs to give. Dev, who is having a birthday this week?
Yes, sir. As usual, the birthdays are brought to you guys by Digital Extreme Technologies. Do you or your company or your business need a custom website? Well, for dynamic, professional, and most of all, affordable custom website solutions, you need Digital Extreme Technologies. No need to break the bank for an effective online presence. Top quality, results-driven websites at incredibly affordable prices. Financing options are available, so visit digitalextremetech.com or call 267-205-4203. And for discounted rates, be sure to tell them War Room Sports.
My birthday! Yay!
All right, we got a couple of international soccer stars celebrating birthdays today, actually born on the same day in the same year. We got Fabio, who turns 25 today. Shout out to Fabio. And also shout out to Rafael da Silva. He turns 25. Former NFL quarterback Trent Green, his knee injury is the reason that Kurt Warner is now a fringe Hall of Famer, and people are arguing back and forth whether he deserves to be in the Hall. So I'm sure Kurt Warner probably, gets him a nice gift every year on his birthday. And birthday shout out to one Mr. I can't even say this. What's OJ real name? Orenthal J. Simpson. OJ Simpson. Turns 68 years old today, and it's crazy, like the roller coaster that this man's life has taken, because OJ was worshipped as a football player at USC and as a Buffalo Bill. Was looked at like he was always in that greatest of all time conversation as far as running backs are concerned. But you don't hear his name in it anymore because I think people just don't respect him enough to even mention his name when you talk about NFL running backs.
Listen, if you look at the film of O.J. Simpson, it's without a doubt that he is one of the greatest tailbacks to ever play. O.J. was also one of the first international pitchmen to come out of professional sports. He was what they considered the safe Negro. Movie star, had tons of commercials. He had the iconic commercial running through the airport, and got him a nice white Nubian queen, and everybody else knows what happened after that. But the thing about it is, because
it all fell apart. Things fall apart, like the Roots said.
Yeah, shout out to the Roots. But O.J. Simpson, man, like his name is synonymous with like something else now. It is not football.
The crazy thing is, it's OJ's birthday, but just speaking on, how his life has gone after his superstardom, I'm gonna just go ahead and give OJ one of these lifetime achievements on his birthday.
The most ridiculous thing about OJ Simpson is this: it's like, I'm not gonna say that you did those heinous acts, but let's just say you did do it, or you didn't do it. Yo, you're a black man that got away with murder if you did do it. And if not, you're a black man that went up to trial for murder and got off.
Which is still rare.
You gave him another opportunity. I'd have never left the house after that.
Yo, no doubt. Like, even if OJ, like, look, man, if I don't leave the house, I can't make money. OJ, join a multi-level marketing company or something and stay in the house. Have all the meetings at your house because your house big enough. Like, come on, OJ.
Yo, when they sued OJ, they couldn't touch his pension, so he still had bread coming in. Like, he could have chilled, but he was drawing. Remember, he wrote the book "If I Did It."
Yeah. Like, come on, if I did it, come on, OJ.
So he was trolling. So so to me, that's the biggest travesty of the whole thing. Like, OJ, what's wrong with you, man? And the crazy part is, shout out to all my HBCUs out there. I remember I was in Lincoln University when this happened because that's where I went to college at, you guys. But when OJ got off, I remember everyone like running into the hallway and celebrating as if something major happened. And it was crazy when you think about it. Like, and I know, Dev, weren't you at Howard at the time too? So you can relate to that. Yeah. I know people were like celebrating, and it just struck me as odd. Like, yo, but that shows you how oppressed we feel as a people with the criminal justice system, that we were literally celebrating. People were smacking pans and throwing fireworks. I'm like, yo.
I was in like this eating establishment in Howard called the Punch Out. It was similar to the Pit on a different world.
Got you.
So everybody was gathered around this one big TV that they had in there, and then when the verdict was read, like a roar went off, like the football team had just scored a touchdown or something. Like people ran out the place, jumping up and down, and people started running across the yard. Like, it was crazy. People celebrated this dude, and then he went and let all of these people down. I still get in trouble. So, OJ, it's your life, Holmes. All right, so happy birthday anyway, wherever you are, Rotten, wherever you are. But before we move on to some hot topics, everybody, make sure you check out our website. That's warroomsports.com. While you're there, be sure to sign up for the War Report. That's our company newsletter. Click on the Contact Us tab to send us a message about our company, the show, or to inquire about sponsorship and advertising opportunities, or join in the network in any way, whether you're a show host, a writer, anything. Just get with us. For general inquiries, email us. info@warroomsports.com. While you're browsing the site, click on the memorabilia tab. Buy some War Room Sports merchandise. Click the blog tab to read our latest articles in the All's Fair in Sports and War blog. Then click the respective icons and tabs to like our Facebook page, to follow us on Twitter, to subscribe to our iTunes podcast, to watch our webcast at War Room Sports TV, to listen to our WRS Podcast Network, and to download our free War Room Sports mobile app to get everything I just mentioned on the go. Join the JW Philly Realty chat room right now during the show at blogtalkradio.com/the War Room. To enter the chat room, just sign up for a free profile on Blog Talk Radio. If you don't want to create an account, you don't have to. You can sign in through your Facebook and Twitter accounts, and we know everybody has one or both of those, so stop being lazy. And while you're at it, click follow. Get updates and reminders about the show. We'll be taking questions and reading posts from Facebook, Twitter, and the chat room during the show. If you want to call in and speak with us, dial the Digital Extreme Tech hotline. That number is 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. If you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk.
What's happening? This is Michael Smith, the His from His and Hers on ESPN2, and you are in the War Room on War Room Sports Podcast Network.
All right, well, let's get into some hot topics. And Jimmy, tell everybody who Hot Topics are by.
Absolutely. If your schedule is too hectic to read as much as you want, try audiobooks. Kick back and let someone else do the reading for you. Visit audibletrial.com/warroomsports and you can get a free audiobook. Listen, you don't have to keep the service, but you definitely could try it out. If you're into books or you want to, get your read on a little bit more, audibletrial.com/warroomsports. Everyone knows that I'm a huge reader. And right now I'm reading like several books on Audible, but one is A People's History of the United States. I'm also reading a book called Blackwater Rising, which is also excellent, and also a book by Ta-Nehisi Coates, who's an excellent writer. So it's a lot of great stuff on Audible. And as I always say during our Audible read, Mike Tyson has the single greatest audio book of all time, and you can actually get that for free by going to audibletrial.com/warroomsports. Let's talk about some hot topics. That we do have two callers on the line.
Mike Tyson gonna have to cut that check. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. We're gonna have to get like a separate Audible just for Mike Tyson sponsorship because we always give him props. But his life story is just crazy. We got a couple calls on the line. You want to get to them before we jump into the hot topics?
Let me do these two because the I'm gonna just give some quick MLB shout outs and the World Cup joint because I know these guys aren't talking about either one of those. So real quick, before we get into that, definitely a shout out to the U.S. women's national soccer team. They won the World Cup in pretty much dominating fashion over Japan, which was kind of like a revenge match from the 2011 World Cup. Did you guys watch any of this? Because according to the ratings, a lot of people watch. Like they got like a 15+ rating, and we know soccer, it's growing, but it isn't as big in the United States as it is everywhere else. And then add on the fact that it's women's soccer, when a lot of people kind of disrespect women's sports a little bit. They got a rating that big for a championship game. So do you guys think that that's a measure of the growth of the game, or is it just like the bandwagon effect when there's something out there that everybody can get behind and root for? Everybody does that and then forgets about it the next week.
Go ahead, Chris.
I mean, that's probably a little bit of both. Like, I think they probably added some people just because it was the World Cup championship, and I feel like it has gained a little popularity throughout, just soccer in the whole with the men's World Cup and all that. So I think it's a little both.
Listen, I think that it's people like to come together, like and a lot of this goes back to social media. Like I call it the Twitter is like the streets now. So on the streets, you see that when something like this happens, everybody gathers around and either they want to slander something or take pride in being American. I think that it could have been like anything. It could have been table tennis. People like to get together and root for one thing. Me personally, you asked, did I personally watch it? No, I didn't at all. And there's no disrespect to the women, but I told you like last show, ever since I saw Hope Solo's her certain body parts, I can't watch the women play. And that's no shade, but her female part looks like curtains in the trap house. So I can't I just can't watch, man, because it disgusts me that much, man. So I didn't watch it, but I do think that people have to get together, root for their country, make jokes or whatever. And it could be a little tinge of soccer getting popular, but I don't know why, but soccer just doesn't seem to catch on because I remember back in the 80s, they were saying soccer is the next big thing. It's always the next big thing. Right. But at what point, and everyone's kid plays soccer now. When I tell people, they say, well, I'm taking my kid to soccer, but so I don't know why it just doesn't translate well, or it's just that we have our sports and we're American and F everybody else. I don't know what it is, but it seems to always be on the fringe of being the next thing.
Even me, Jim, I never kicked a soccer ball in my life, and I even got my son playing soccer. But for me, my plan is just to use that to hone his skills for other games. Soccer is good for the footwork, good for the cardio, stuff like that. So I'm hoping that he's good at soccer, just so, as Shaq would say, his feet work will be good for other sports.
But why is it that it's never caught on though? Why is it that it's never caught on the way people?
I don't know. I mean, because I think it's being played a lot, like you said. So people actually play it, but I don't know. Maybe because until now there wasn't really a professional league for anybody to aspire to, and even now I'm not sure what those guys get paid. Like, bottom line, people gravitate towards the professional leagues that's going to change their lives financially forever, and I'm not sure if MLS is doing that for folks right now. I could be wrong. Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, because I really don't know the salary of an MLS player unless it's somebody like Beckham who came over just to basically give the league publicity, and they backed the Brinks truck up for him. But I don't know. I think maybe it will. I just think in the 80s, maybe they were just too gung-ho saying it was the next best thing. They jumped the gun a little bit on that. But it's definitely growing now. But I want to give a shout out to Carly Lloyd, because she had a hat trick in the championship game and scored all 3 of those goals in the first 16 minutes of the match. So it was just good all around. But to answer my own question, I think it was a lot of the bandwagon effect, because I can't front. Like, when the Men's World Cup came around, I was watching soccer all day, every day. And then I haven't watched soccer since then, including this tournament. So bandwagon effect. Most of all. Yeah.
No doubt. I respect it. Like, I respect the honesty.
No doubt. Also, Major League Baseball, they finished up with the All-Star voting. And the All-Star game is going to take place in Cincinnati. Home run derby's on Monday. The All-Star game is the next day. Some things, Jimmy, that we're not used to seeing around the All-Star break. That's amazing to me right now. And one of those things, I mean, they went to the World Series last year, but how much are you used to seeing Kansas City Royals leading their division? And shout out to Casey Mack.
I was hoping you didn't bring this up, because I know Casey Mack is listening, and I gave him hell before the season started. I was like, don't let them bring up KC of all teams.
But listen, you got the Royals leading the Central at 50-33. Like I said, they're a good team now. They went to the World Series last year, so it was more of a shock last year. Maybe now we just have to get used to it. But even crazier than that, you got the Houston Astros leading the West at 49-38. Now that's crazy, because Houston has been the doormat of the Major League Baseball for the past I don't know how many years. So it's just some crazy things going on at the All-Star break. But shout out to them. We'll recap the Home Run Derby and the All-Star game proceedings next week during the show. I just want to throw out there still that it's very stupid, and they still need to change the rule that the winner of the All-Star game decides home field advantage in the World Series. I can't think of anything dumber than that in sports. But give me a minute, I might come up with something. But I just wanted to give those shout outs, man. Chris, are you a big baseball fan? Who you root for?
I'm actually not a big baseball fan, but I root for the Phillies. That's the home team. So.
Right. That's how it is when you're not like super diehard about a certain sport. Nah, I just support the home. That's all good.
That's how it is. I tell people that all the time. People are like, who's your soccer team? I'll be like, the Flyers. I really don't care. Let them win a championship, and you'll find me at the parade fronting trying to get Becky's to show me their boobies. But I'm really not a fan of hockey. But with all that being said, man, shout out to baseball, man. And Casey Mack, I know you're listening, man. I don't want to hear anything about your Royals. There's still a lot of season left to be played.
Yeah, baseball got like 960 games. So. It's not time to gloat yet, but shout out to the Royals. All right, Jimmy, you want to take them calls real quick?
Absolutely. We got 2 calls. We got our 2 favorite calls online. Let's get to the homie first. Hold on for 1 second, Rob, because he was right before you. But roll damn tide. We got Tobias on the line. What's good, Tobias?
Roll tide, baby. Get ready to be disappointed again in college football again. But anyway, hey. Yeah, well, 2 things I wanted to touch on today. First things first here. Where is the Hey, DeAndre Jordan, I know you guys covered this. When the hell did DeAndre Jordan become Kareem?
DeAndre Jordan Tobias averages like 8 points and 9 rebounds, and teams out here fighting over him. Like Wilt Chamberlain just became a free agent. I don't get it either.
Hey, you heard what Mark Cuban said to Chris Broussard? It came out recently. Chris Broussard talking about his sources. I'm sorry.
I saw that back and forth exchange of that.
Hey, well, Mark Cuban said, "Well, I give $100,000 right now if you could prove I was outside of South Texas." And Chris Broussard's sources had nothing to say.
You know what though? The craziest thing Mark Cuban has said in the past week, because his pitch to DeAndre Jordan kind of leaked on the media as well, and he told DeAndre Jordan that he could play a Shaq-like role in Dallas. What? Man.
The funniest thing about that is this, right? You said, why are they fighting over him? Because his skill set does hold value in this league. The way the league plays now with all the stretches, like if you look at the Warriors who just won a championship, like even most teams, they play stretch games. And even beyond that, the pick and roll, the way that's played, he's a hell of a defender. He can grab rebounds. So the big men these days aren't really needed to put up 20 and 10. They're needed to do exactly what he does, which is why he holds value. And also, when you look at if the Clippers would have lost him, and you look at what they had, their next biggest player was Big Baby Davis. And there are no free agents for them to go sign. So they would have been in a lot of trouble without him, considering they got rid of Matt Barnes, who was like the only other player on their team that played defense outside of DeAndre Jordan. So his skill set, although it's not what we typically would consider a dominant big man, it has value in this league the way the game is currently constituted and played. But, you know, it is a bit much when you see everything that went on with him, and we'll touch on that later. But I mean, that's why
Tyson Chandler got another like $13 million a year from another team. Because Jimmy, you're right. This is the skill set. Yeah, this is the skill set that's conducive to today's game. No back to the basket game required these days. But for Mark Cuban to say you can play a Shaq-like role,
yo, Chuck, it must be on the pipe, right?
Yeah, that was all Capo. And the thing about it is, like, the reason that he value was the same reason that Towns went #1 overall. Because when you look at Towns' skill set, it's similar to that of a Tyson Chandler or a DeAndre Jordan. And I'm not, I'm not Jalen Rose saying that, but you get my point.
But Carl Anthony Towns, at least he could turn his back to the basket and do some work though.
A little bit.
Both of those big men. Both of those.
You know what though? Yeah. You know the thing is though. I don't know who gets more hype. It's like they call DeAndre Jordan Kareem, and they call Miles God Wilt for some reason. The way they hype those two up, and, But the other thing I want to touch on, I know you guys probably will touch on it later. You got my call earlier thing. But can we just keep it real? I think the kid lad named DeAndre Johnson, from Florida State. Let's be honest here. When a black man gets caught in that situation, he kicked off the team, no rationalization, and you got the coons on ESPN up here scared to lose their job. Fuck dancing. But yet, Hope Solo knocking out relatives, acting like she ball rock for Street Fighter. She gets a trophy. Nobody's hating on her. Kurt Busch from NASCAR bashed his girlfriend's head into the wall. Nothing happens. Nobody says a word. But when he saw what happened, and the bigger issue is, why in the hell didn't nobody saying that she didn't get arrested either hitting him? But yeah, he's arrested. He lost his stuff.
That is one thing that I said when I first saw the video, because, it looked like a fight to me. You know what I'm saying? So if I was there fighting DeAndre Johnson, we both would have left in handcuffs. That's the only thing. There's no way that I'm going to justify him punching that woman the way he did. But that is one thing I did notice. Like if usually, two people are fighting, then both of these people are going to go to jail. And as far as the Hope Solo thing is concerned, we talked about that on the show a few weeks ago. We kind of think when it comes to domestic violence, women definitely get a pass on, a lot of those situations. Kurt Busch, I'm pretty sure, Tobias, you probably are on to something as far as the white guy thing. But at the same time, a lot of stuff goes down in NASCAR, and I just think their culture is just so much different than everything else in sports. I don't know if people just don't care, or if people don't want to get involved, But yeah, it's a lot of stuff that goes down in NASCAR that doesn't go.
Somebody murdered somebody last year in NASCAR. They actually go to somebody murdered somebody. I mean, like, y'all saw what happened on the track. Tony Stewart caught a body about a week ago. But
I don't think he murdered that dude, man.
Yeah, he murdered Dev, you can be PC. He murdered that boy.
No, I ain't being PC. When we talked about that,
I know. I'm messing with you. But listen though, Tobias.
I go by the whole adamant when the train's on the track. When the train come and get the hell off the track, like
Tobias, you're right. I mean, there's definitely a double standard, right? But with that being said, you gotta be smarter than that. I don't want to give him an out just because she was also in the wrong. Like, you have a lot. I don't know anything about her, but I'm pretty sure that he had a lot more to lose than her. You know what I'm saying? And you have to understand that you're constantly under a microscope. You play for Florida State. You don't play for you don't play for Everest College. Like, you play for Florida State. You're a quarterback. Talking about a quarterback. Like, you got to be smarter than that. I mean, part of being a quarterback is being able to make decisions and not get too emotional, right? So
that was an easy situation to get out of. Jay. He could have stiff-armed her just to get enough room to be able to back out of there, without getting hit and without hitting her. So, like,
And the thing is, Tobias, like, when that thing happened with Jay-Z and Solange, right? That's the smartest. Like, he handled it the best. Like, yo, I'm gonna chill because if he would have like mollywopped her, he has a lot more to lose than her. Like, and everybody laughed about him getting his.
And got clowned the most. Handled it the best and got clowned the most.
And it was funny, but at the end of the day, now people realize that he was the smartest person out of all these situations you see. Yo, hit me all you want to. I'm not gonna lose what I work hard for. And I'm pretty sure this gentleman worked hard to get to the point where you're a Florida State quarterback. That's saying something.
Yeah, I'm not condoning him hitting her, and I'm like,
you're just looking for that. You're just looking for the double punishment. You're looking for.
Yes, I'm looking at. I'm looking at it. Yeah, let's look Ray Rice. Ray Rice damn near 30, for example. This guy's 19. I'm not gonna lie to you. 19, I was one of the most irrational people. So we're looking at him like, okay, you're 30. He's 19. He should be smarter. But my thing is, I'm not condoning it. But my issue is that. They open a Pandora's box where these women can just beat the hell out of guys and nothing even happens. But if we even just look at her wrong, we're going to jail. And especially the brothers. Let's just be honest about that. Because ain't nobody messing with Ben Roethlisberger in sexual assault for Jameis Winston. They still messing with him.
Bias. It's 2015, man, and it sounds like you still looking for answers. What you just said, we all know. So we can't, like Jimmy said, we can't put ourselves in positions that other people put themselves in because we don't get off as easy.
And also,
so if we know it,
when it's on camera, it's times 10. Like, it's a whole different thing. And you say, well, she actually got punished too. She got punished with that right hand to her face.
Yeah, but see, the issue is that, like, now what happening is, and this is why I hate it when the Coons and the Buck dancers go on TV and start doing what Master says for that extra butter biscuit and throw folks under the bus. Because guess what she's doing? She's on the chitlin circuit right now, saying how big of a victim she was. I don't see. My thing is, like, what's going to happen is you're going to have guys just. He was wrong. Let's just be honest about that. But at the same time, now you got these stories that come up now where you even accused of it. They're not on camera. You're done. Like it happened in Alabama, the kid Cyrus Jones found out the girlfriend, he called on the girlfriend, but the story came out that he hit her, which he didn't, but he was suspended for a while. And so it's like, what do you want here? Do you want people to start in what people don't understand? I'll actually post this for you guys, find I get home and stuff, that women are actually more violent in relationships than guys. And what you actually use weapons. But guess who gets prosecuted as a stigma? Because, and that's the stuff that goes unsaid. It's like Jay-Z and Solange. No one said a word with Solange beat the hell out of Jay-Z. But if Jay-Z even just mushed her in the face, he would have been in the wrong. So what do you expect these people to do?
I expect that. You don't have to tell me because, I mean, in my life, I've dealt with some crazy women. I mean, and to be honest with you, the crazier the woman, the better the moisture. But the thing is,
Broncos fans, I tell you.
You just gotta be smart, though. All I'm saying in the situation is you gotta be smarter. You know what I mean? I'm not condoning what she did. I'm not condoning what he did. But the one thing that bothers me with this brother is he had a lot to lose, and he just didn't think. Like, you have to think.
Hey, Jeremy.
A lot of times,
and you already saw how the quarterback before you played with fire and damn near almost lost his career. So you got to chill.
Can I bring up something nobody said about this whole situation? What was his homies? What was his homies?
Something else that nobody said. He a freshman quarterback. The hell was he doing in the bar? But
he's not even old enough to be in the bar.
But see, my point was, if you young like that, you got some people you cool with, especially he came to campus early. He was an early enrollee. So, like, you ain't got no partners on the team you hang out with, and your homies just be like, hey, man, back off.
But that's why it takes administration. He needs some old heads, because here's the thing, man. At the end of the day, and I don't mean to get all conspiracy theorists, sometimes those type women are planted. Like, you know, like, yo, they're like COINTELPRO is real. It still exists, even at the collegiate level. Like, I'm not saying she was, but what happens when a woman is planted to come and get in your face and say these? That's why you just got to be smarter, man. The problem with a lot of us, and not just this situation, but situations in general, you see athletes getting in trouble, is acting off emotion instead of strategies. A lot of these dudes be too emotional, man. You can't be that emotional. I mean, that's all I got to say about it, man. Tobias, we got to go. We definitely have another caller on the line.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks for the call as always, man. Thanks for the support as always. And we'll holler at you.
Appreciate it. Take it easy.
Oh, peace. Let's get to the homie calling all the way out from California. Let me see. Wow. I think he was also in DeAndre Jordan's house last night helping to recruit him. Let's ask him about that. Rob, what's going on?
What's up? What's going on?
You had the sleepover last night,
dog? Huh?
I said, was you at the DeAndre sleepover? Try and get him to come back to LA?
Man, hell no. He should stay over there with Massa, dog. He should stay over there with Massa Cuban. Get out of here, dude. Man, but I'm gonna touch a little bit of the females first, you know what I'm saying? Don't get caught up like Damian Wednesday, you know what I'm saying? Brothers, or just men in general, man. Stay away from drunk chicks, though. I don't care what Jimmy said, you know what I'm saying, because of the moisture, man. Nah, man. Ain't nobody like, you know, greasy yams, man. I'm good. You know?
You outside in the hurricane, right?
No, it's windy. It's cool. It's cool right now, man. You know, it's Comic-Con weekend, and but DeAndre Jordan, that whole situation, it's good. It's good for the Clippers because now they got a cohesive unit. They still got a cohesive unit. For the Mavs, I don't know. I mean, nobody wants to play with Mavs. I don't know why.
Well, he wanted to play. He made a promise that he was going to play. I just think the Clippers came on too strong in the end. But we're going to rap about that in a minute.
Man. Hey, Rob, man. You okay? Hey, Rob, you okay out there, man? It sounded like you was running from LAPD, man. It's like you out there like Chris Dorner or something, man. You cool?
Nah, I'm good. It's just a little bit wind, a little bit chill right now. I'm in SD, but also I love the. I'm kind of 50-50 on the not 50. I'm 80-20 on what the Lakers did with the free agency. Lou's all right. You know, I like Lou. I think, and also people gotta read the quotes, read between the lines. Lou said that it's great to play with greatness. You know, it's great to play with greatness. You know, next to Kobe. That's why I like. Brandon Bass is a good role player, not great. I wish the Lakers picked up some big guys. It's a good thing we got Lou because we get to trade Nick Young.
You got Hibbert.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What they finalized the deal?
Well, I mean, it was still going. I don't know if it's finalized yet.
Unless somebody will lock him in his house.
Yeah, I don't think the Pacers care about him that much, so I think they're gonna go ahead and let that deal go through. So
yeah, they basically traded him for like a gift card to Sam's Club. But listen though, Rob, it's funny you say that you're 80-20 on it because I'm totally the other way. I feel like they try to salvage it, but when you look at the last two off seasons where LeBron was a free agent, where Aldridge was a free agent, and we end up with like Lou Williams. Okay, he's a solid player, but what I've come to realize is this, and I just accepted it, is that as a Lakers fan, I've been spoiled. And it just makes me appreciate Dr. Bus more. So rest in peace, Dr. Bus, because basically we're just like everybody else now. When in the past, we weren't like everybody else. We're just like this is an okay pickup if, like, you know, you're like Portland or you're Indiana or some other team in the Midwest that no one cares about. But for it to be the Lakers, and you're talking about being excited over Brandon Bass, Roy Hibbert, and Lou Williams, are you serious? I mean, this is a team that went out in the past and got Kareem. They went out and got Shaq. Like, this is a team that made big moves. And we talking about Brandon Bass?
Shoot, even when they had Shaq, they got cats like Glenn Rice and Mitch Richmond on, you know, just as role players.
Yeah.
These used to be stars. You know what I mean? Mitch Richmond, Hall of Famer.
We had Magic and Kareem went out and finagled a deal that got us the #1 pick in the draft, which ended up being James Worthy. Like, we made big moves. Like, we stick teams up. And now it's like we're just like everybody else. Like, you can't really get excited for Brandon Bass and Lou Williams, like, and Roy Hibbert when you're a Lakers fan, man. So, R.I.P. Dr. Bus, man.
I mean, because I mean, just what happened to the LaMarcus Aldridge deal, and I was surprised to even give the Lakers a second chance because he really wanted to come in L.A. because, you know, just the lifestyle, just, you know, we really love our basketball dudes. I mean, come on, man, we just really love, and they love us. It's just a thing that, you know, they have to it's a wake-up call for them because they have to reevaluate. Basically, Jim Buss is going to have to go. Either his sister is going to have to talk. They're going to have to talk to each other. Mitch Kupchak, I know he had, like, you know, stuff for his daughter. He couldn't really think straight. And also he's been emasculated. So, you know.
Well, that's the plan, though, Rob. Jeannie Buss said that she and Jim Buss had a 3-year deal, and he will step down. He will resign if the Lakers, you know, aren't making at least a competitive run deep into the playoffs by year 3. So after this season, if nothing happens, then you probably don't have to worry about Jim Buss anymore. But okay, getting rid of him, fine. That's one thing, but you still got to get somebody in there that's going to do the job.
And I do want to say two things. One, I do have faith in Byron Scott. He's a great coach. He'll bring the best out of players. It's just that
I wouldn't call him great.
I would call him great. Come on, dude.
Based on what? How's he great?
Come on, dude. What? Why is he great?
Huh?
Why is he great?
What makes him great?
If you look at his coaching resume, he went to the finals with the Nets, and he did really good, really decent with New Orleans. With New Orleans Hornets, they weren't that bad. They were competitive.
Hold up. So doing decent makes you great? You're talking about being great now. There's only maybe like 5 great coaches. Like, you know, actually, there's not 5 great coaches in the league right now. You said he's great. You can't say he's great and then followed it up with, like, he did okay with
I'm talking about compared to the coaches we had in the past. But one thing I do want to say is,
I mean, he went to the finals with the Nets, you know, in a weak Eastern Conference and got smacked both times in the finals. I mean, shout out to him. Kudos.
Yeah, and I do want to say I was joking with Dev last time I was taking shots at Phillies management. Well, I still think they trash, but they are in a better position than us because they got two big men.
And you know why we're in a better position, y'all? Because their expectations aren't the same. Y'all not supposed to be trash ever. Like Jimmy said, like, as fans, y'all are spoiled, but shoot, as just fans of NBA basketball, period, like, we're all used to seeing the Lakers just being one of the top teams in the league, regardless of, you know, what year it is and what's going on. We're just used to seeing that. So there's a lot of expectations there. And, you know, like Jimmy said, if you're the best franchise in basketball and you go into free agency for the last 2 years with as much money as anybody to play with, and you come out with Lou Williams and Brandon Bass, then you're failing. You're definitely failing. Like, the Sixers management don't expect to go into free agency and grab a bunch of big fish because nobody, you know, We don't have that same market. Nobody wants to come to Philly.
Oh, come on. That's a load of crap.
How's that a load of crap? When last time Philly bagged a big free agent that wasn't past his prime? Elton Brand after an Achilles tear? Chris Webber after he was
Moses Malone in like 81.
I know, like what do you mean?
Listen, and that's what people bring up the argument with the Yankees, all because they got a lot of money. No, every sports team has a billionaire, and every billionaire decides what he wants to do with that team. Some billionaires want to be like, the Steinbrenners and build a dynasty. That's their thing. And some just don't really care.
But I'm not talking about money.
But you're talking about money. Money has nothing to do
LA
with
is just a way more attractive place than most places to play in sports. Like, it's just a more attractive place to come play. It's a salary cap. A big free agent is going to get the same amount of money damn near anywhere he goes. So I'm not talking about money.
Well, you don't think people want to play in Miami, like with the nice beaches? Even though their basketball market is trash.
You don't see that?
Yeah. People do want to play in Miami. Like free agents sign in Miami.
First of all, Rob, Miami, you're looking at Florida with no state income tax. You're looking at sunny weather 12 months out of the year. People don't, a lot of people grew up in places, they don't like winter. Even if you grew up in places that had crazy winters, that don't necessarily mean that you like it. So, yeah, Miami is a great destination to go. I mean, you didn't see LeBron and Bosh and Wade just team up there 4 years ago? LeBron is the best player in the league. LeBron is the best player in the league. Don't you think they could have came to play with him rather than him going to Miami? They could have all gotten together in Cleveland, but who the hell wants to do that? They could have all gotten together in Toronto, but who wants to do that? They got together in Miami because it's a damn good place to be. It matters.
Shaq was the best player in the league, and he wanted to go there too.
He left because he wanted more. He left because he wanted more money. That's the only reason.
But hold on. What more money? It was the whole thing with him and Kobe. But the thing is, he orchestrated it when he can go to Miami. He wasn't going to go play in Minnesota. He wanted to go to Miami.
Anybody would have given Shaq a lot of money, and he chose where he wanted to go. Look at Shaq's, how his career went when he was still dominant Shaq and able to control his own destiny. He went from sunny Orlando to sunny LA, went from sunny LA to sunny Miami, went to Phoenix after that. So, I mean, there's something to be said about that. People not really trying to go play in Minnesota, like Jimmy said.
I got one last thing. You guys go to the next thing. Tobias said something about, y'all talked a long time about domestic violence. Notice that the WNBA didn't do nothing to Brittany Griner.
I said that when the was talking. Yeah, but like there was nothing like.
But it's not the same.
It's not the same.
They got suspended for 7 games, but they got out of legal trouble.
If we're all, the so-called white construct of feminist movement wants all of us to be equal, why can't they just hold her accountable, suspend her? She's 6'6", unless she's taller than me. I'm not even 6 feet. Some dang wingspan. What the hell?
Well, that was another thing. They were fighting. Nobody necessarily said Brittany Griner wasn't fight.
Domestic issues.
But they both got suspended for
a couple times.
I mean, you know how it is, man. It's a different dynamic with men and women because that's just not a fair fight at all. I'm not justifying the fact that there's no equality, because if you choose to be homosexual and, your partner is the same gender as you, it's still domestic violence, no matter how you slice it. But, I mean, you just know how society is. There's two women fighting. People are not going to look at that like Ray Rice punching his chick in the face. I mean, a lot of people are immature. They're going to look at that as a cat fight. So it's not the same thing. But Rob, man, thanks for your call as usual. Your calls be like 20 minutes, man. You be catching us in that trap. But thanks for your call, and we definitely wrap to you next week, man.
Thanks, Rob.
Right. Catch Blade 3 coming. Actually, Blade 4 coming out. Peace.
Here.
Peace. Like you talking about? What are those? Anyway,
you talking about Wesley Snipes?
We gotta get that soundbite. Yo, I don't know. We gotta get that soundbite. That's the greatest video. Hey, Chris, Chris, we gotta send you this video when we get off the air, man. It's this video on this high school basketball team, man, and it's the funniest thing I ever seen in my life. What are those? Anyway, with that being said, man, what's some more hot topics we can jump into? Man, we're not getting to this other story that's crazy.
Let's talk about NFL players and fireworks, man, because there's been 2 incidents over 4th of July weekend, where NFL players have been messing with fireworks and have basically mangled their hands. The biggest of which is Jason Pierre-Paul, defensive lineman from the New York Giants. At least he was. We're going to see how things play out after this. He had an incident over the weekend which caused him to break his thumb and to have his index finger on the same hand as right hand amputated. The thing was, the Giants had heard that he got into some kind of incident with fireworks, and they actually went down there, but they weren't able to see him. I mean, it's being reported as him avoiding them, but I think it was the fact that he was actually in surgery at the time. So he was a little bit busy when the Giants came down there. The Giants rescinded their $60 million offer, which I think Jason Pierre-Paul had turned down initially anyway. And now, the question is whether or not they're going to keep dangling that franchise tag to him, or if they're just going to let him become a free agent all of a sudden, which was not in the plans at all. Before we get into how it was reported and the whole Adam Schefter thing, what do you guys think about this Jason Pierre-Paul thing? And also C.J. Wilson from the Buccaneers had the same situation. We don't have as many details on his, but there was a report that his father said C.J. Wilson lost 2 fingers to fireworks over the weekend. So what do you guys think about these guys doing this type of stuff when they have so much to lose? We already talked about having things to lose. What's your thoughts?
I mean, they know the hazards. I mean, I think because they understand, about the physical nature and how that all contributes to them playing in their profession and their career. But they're, I don't know. They shouldn't.
I personally think, man, that these people are stupid. Like we talked about it earlier about having something to lose, right? And I just don't get the upside. Like, you get your fireworks, it goes off, you make the neighborhood happy, I guess. I mean, I've never really been big into fireworks. I mean, I have friends that always love fireworks. It never was my thing. But at the end of the day, like, being a professional football player and having a contract on your desk that you didn't sign and you out here playing with stuff that can injure you, it's just reckless, man. I just don't understand it. He made a mistake, but the risk reward is just crazy to me. Like, come on, you guys got to stop being fools, man. And I saw Thomas Jones, NFL player Thomas Jones, basically call them dummies. Like, he went in. Man, it's tough. Like, because at the end of the day, I'm always at the end of the day, but with this offseason right here, we don't have as many DUIs as usual. We don't have as many domestic violence cases or people dealing drugs or catching murders for that, So now we got a new thing. Now they're just hurting themselves instead of like terrorizing the community. Let's step it up. Let's just hurt ourselves. Like, all you do. You should be ashamed of yourself. The way you carry yourself.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, to see this kind of stuff, especially in JPP's situation, because you got the contract on the table. I mean, it's one of those things where you just think certain things just aren't going to happen to you. So people take risks, probably unnecessary risks. And in this case, like, 2 unfortunate situations occurred. Because now, like, his whole situation is in limbo. Because the Giants, we don't know if the franchise tag is still going to be offered to Jason Pierre-Paul. I think, they're probably weighing their options. They're trying to evaluate the situations to see if indeed this injury is going to be something that's going to hamper his performance from here on out. Like, people may be quick to dismiss that because he's a defensive lineman and it's his finger. But first of all, all fingers are important, but your index finger is kind of the finger that runs the show. So it's going to be kind of difficult trying to grab jerseys of quarterbacks and toss quarterbacks to the deck when you don't have your pointer finger to use. So it's not as clear cut as people think it is, but he does think that he's going to play in 2015, whether it's with the Giants or whether it's with someone else. But I heard we did have a statement directly from Jason Pierre-Paul about the incident.
I'd like to explain something. I ain't punchy. I got what you call a relaxed brain, but I ain't punchy. It's just.
So that's the whole thing. Hey, Chris, I don't know if you're are you there? Your mic?
Yeah. I'm here.
Okay, because you got cut off early. I couldn't hear you.
You got a comment in our chat room. Leroy says they need to make JPP do light duty and just answer the phone for league minimum.
Giants organization, Jason Pierre-Paul speaking. Like, come on, man. Yeah, so this is crazy, but let's talk a little bit real quick about how the story was reported, because you heard the rumblings of it. You heard that an incident had occurred, but the stories also started to come out saying, okay, it wasn't as serious as we thought initially. And then, boom, the other day you get a tweet from Adam Schefter. Now, we know Adam Schefter is all about being the insider and getting all the scoops before anybody else. But he actually tweeted a photo of Jason Pierre-Paul's medical record from the hospital saying that he had to get his finger amputated. So this caused a giant stir with everybody about ethics, about, legalities of that report. And Jimmy, what did you think of the whole thing? Because, I had to explain to a couple of people, HIPAA law really doesn't, the media isn't governed by HIPAA law. That's just like the hospital is. So whoever leaked that information, or even if they're not going to go after a specific person, that hospital could be in some big trouble. It could garner some big fines for breaking that patient confidentiality. But ESPN and Adam Schefter are pretty much covered. But what my thoughts on it is, to me, it's still not really ethical, because when you get information like that, that it's information that's not legal, even though it's not on your part, that you couldn't just come out and tell anybody who your source was. So that something's wrong with it. So I kind of think that, it was a POS move by Adam Schefter, because it's that, it's the way journalism is now. Nobody cares about being ethical. Most of the time, people don't even care about being right. They just care about being first. And I think in a drastic move to be first, I think he used bad judgment by putting that photo out there.
Yo, it is crazy. When I first saw the photo, I had to look like 10 times. Like, no, he didn't just release that. And yo, you put it on the streets, like you put it on the Twitter. Like, are you serious? So I was really in shock that he would even do that, but I wasn't in shock, and I didn't know the legalities of who. I understand that, I know what HIPAA law is, but I'm the jabroni that went to law school, but all I'm saying is that I didn't know who would be responsible. I know the hospital would, but I didn't know that ESPN couldn't be held liable. But it's still a creep move, man. It's such a creepy move, and it makes me wonder whether players will trust him or his sources. Right. Like, why would you do that? Like, it's one thing to report it, but to actually put that up there, he can say, we've seen documentation, but you actually put the document. That's foul. Like,
you know what, Jim? No, you just said, ESPN couldn't be held liable. The fact is, even if they were, ESPN, like, money is not a thing to them. But if the players had any backbone, if players had any heart, if they stood for anything, they could hurt ESPN way more than any HIPAA fine could hurt them. Because like you said, if the trust is gone, then gone are those exclusive interviews that they get. Gone is gone are the days when they could get information faster than everybody else. And ESPN is the only people that they'll talk to. And Adam Schefter is able to dig up anything he needs to give up to dig up. If players and personnel, find this whole thing offensive and they actually had some backbone, they could punish them way more than any fine could punish them. So we'll see where folks will stand with that. We'll see if anybody has the gall to stand up against reporters from the worldwide leader and tell them, no, I'm not giving you this exclusive because we don't trust you.
It's really creepy. It's really creepy. I was watching a documentary this past week. It was on National Geographic. It's called American Genius. They do like features about different things in America. And one was about newspapers. And it was about how newspapers became popular and yada, yada, yada. But it profiled two people, one being Pulitzer and the other one being William Randolph Hearst. And these were like the two biggest titans in media at the time. But what happened was Pulitzer was a great writer. He worked his way up from the very bottom, was poor. And to make a long story short, he ran newspapers the right way, got sources. Hearst came from a wealthy family, started a newspaper. But the difference was when he was losing the battle, he decided to stop checking for sources and just to put things out there. And that decision changed media forever. That's why you have things like the New York Post and the Philadelphia Daily News who put basically tabloids. But the fact of the matter is when he started doing that, he got juicier stories and he actually caught ground. But the thing about it is you catch ground, but whose name do we remember from this point out in terms of dealing with writing and media? Everybody wants a Pulitzer Prize. Nobody wants a Hearst Prize. My point is you got to have some sort of integrity. And right. I wouldn't be surprised to see one of his colleagues or even someone else use that against him to get the scoop. Like, look, I'm not Adam Schefter. I wouldn't do X, Y, Z. I wouldn't be surprised if Mort turned on him. because it's a dog. Or
at least maybe like a Glazer from another network. Maybe Glazer.
Yeah. You might as well tell me. Don't tell Schefter because, he gonna leak this stuff out anyway. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think he hurt himself even more so than the brand because, like, ESPN will replace him in a heartbeat and not care. But I just don't know. I wonder if he had a second thought.
Right. And for those out there who don't know what HIPAA stands for, it's an acronym, HIPAA, and it stands for Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, which was started in 1996, and it's a law that protects medical records. So things like this in the medical world are just not legal, and not, like we said, not on the side of Adam Schefter. But he knew when he received these documents that they weren't legal. So I'm assuming this is something that he had to pay for, because who's going to risk themselves, risk their jobs giving you this information for free? So he knew, he had to know 100% exactly what was going on and what the ramifications were. Okay, let me give you a couple dollars for these sealed medical records. I can't get in trouble for it. So it's easy to see why somebody in his position would do something like that, but you got to have a little bit more integrity than that. So those are the crazy stories happening in the NFL. One last thing, and I just want to ask you guys before I even talk about this. Hey, Chris, who do you think is the best player in the NFL? Like, what's your opinion on who's the best player in the NFL?
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. Okay, because they do the top 100 countdown every year, and this year. The number one player on the top 100 countdown was J.J. Watt. So I pretty much guess you disagree with that since you think Aaron Rodgers is the best player in the league.
I mean, I disagree, but I understand because he's the most dominant defensive player out there. He actually might be more dominant on defense than Aaron Rodgers is on offense. So
yeah, he's a monster. So, I would say, you know what, because quarterbacks – they get put in those positions where they're called the best player in the league and stuff like that. But what they have to do 9 times out of 10 is nowhere near as physical as players at another position. So for someone to say J.J. Watt is the best football player in the league, I think I could pretty much rock with that. I can agree with that. Because all around, he might be that dominant that we can call him the best football player in the league. But Aaron Rodgers definitely has a case. Aaron Rodgers.
They both have a case. But the thing is, I wouldn't argue it because although it's more physical, the mental side, the preparation for the quarterback, the things he has to memorize and do are at a different level than with someone like J.J. Watt. But J.J. Watt is so unique because, my man was playing tight end catching touchdowns.
Right.
Like, he was drawn last year. Like, he was scoring all kinds of ways and batting down passes.
Jim, and he was scoring more touchdowns than tight ends on the defensive side.
and the thing about it is, like, when you watch football and you watch the film, you realize that there are a lot, like, he causes havoc every play, even when he doesn't put anything in the stat sheet, because you have to account for him. So he has to be doubled. You have to, shed block. There's so many things. He has to be accounted for every play. So he's making a difference every play. You know what I mean? So that is something to be said for that. So the argument can be made.
A quarterback has to know where everybody is on the field.
Exactly. So it's like you can make the argument either way, but I don't have a problem with it. I'm actually glad they're doing that, though, because a lot of times defensive players get pooped on. We talk about best players because everyone loves the quarterback.
Well, they might just be throwing him a mulligan because he didn't win the MVP, like some people thought he should. But I think Aaron Rodgers was the right choice for the MVP. Let me tell you who rounds out the top 5. It was J.J. Watt at number 1. Aaron Rodgers was number 2. Tom Brady at number 3. DeMarco Murray at 4. And Peyton Manning at 5. Now, I don't want to go through the whole list because the quarterbacks, of course, are always arguable and where they fall. And are they still as good as they're supposed to be at this age? But before we move on, I want to question you guys about the DeMarco Murray thing. Is DeMarco Murray the 4th best player in the NFL right now?
Well, I think he was the best back by far. Yeah, for sure. Just all purpose around catching, running, blocking. So I mean, but
he doesn't do that much in the area of receiving, but. I mean, he had a great year. And I know these are year-to-year lists, so we probably shouldn't get too excited and think people are being too prisoner of the moment for putting certain people up, because this is a year-by-year list. But it seems funny to me to see DeMarco Murray's name in that kind of company. What do you think, Jim?
It's weird because, like, it's hard for me to separate body of work versus year-to-year. So when they say that, I'm like, he did have an amazing season last year, and I actually won my fantasy league because of him. So shout out to DeMarco Murray. But it's hard for me to make that judgment because I'm just not a guy that's quick to say the best this or the best that. Like, I'm sometimes hold back of giving that praise even when it should be said. So did he have the 4th best year last year? I guess so. Would I call him the 4th best player? No. Put it like this. I think if they put the entire league in a draft right now, he wouldn't be the 4th pick.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. Because if you go the draft route, though, there are going to be some defensive players who get up in there before a lot of people.
He might not be the first running back taken, though. Honestly.
Now that's a legitimate point, because first of all, you got AP who's coming back to play this year. We have no idea how he's going to play after a year off. I mean, we know how he played after the year off he took a couple of years ago. But, we have no idea what AP is going to do now. But I still think at least 7 out of 10 owners, fans, general managers, whoever, are going to make that choice if they're given that choice, just to take a little gamble. So I don't know. Yeah, 4th best player in the league is kind of a stretch for me. He did have a great year, and to Chris's credit, he did have like 57 receptions, because you don't really think about DeMarco Murray and receiving that much, but he did have 57 receptions last season. But I don't know. I don't think he's going to be able to repeat the feat, though, because now he's running in a 3-headed backfield. I guess he's like, if we can get these wins and I'm getting paid more than the rest of them, I'm cool. But he's definitely not going to have the same kind of production, because Dallas actually tried to break this man last year. So he probably will welcome the rest.
A lot of touches.
Mm-hmm. They tried to kill him. All right, so we don't have a stat of the week this week unless somebody out there has one. If you want to throw one in our chat room or throw one on Twitter, Facebook, or if you want to call in and give us one, y'all know the number. But as usual, you guys can check out our website. That's warroomsports.com. to call in and speak with us about any of today's topics, and we're about to get into some NBA talk, you can dial the Digital Extreme Technologies hotline at 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. If you're already listening from your phone, just make sure you press 1 if you want to talk.
Hi, Peter King with the MMQB here, and you're listening to The War Room at the War Room Sports Podcast Network.
Let's talk some b-ball, Jim.
Yes. It's time to talk about my favorite sport. It's time to talk about basketball, gentlemen. And for those who don't know, the NBA Wrap is brought to you by Fanatics. For your favorite team's merchandise and apparel, shop Fanatics. Shopping Fanatics is easy. Go to our website, warroomsports.com, and click on that Fanatics logo. You can buy NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, and NCAA gear. You can actually get you the 4th best player in the league. You can get his Eagles jersey right there. Go to warroomsports.com and click on that Fanatics logo. Let's talk basketball.
Let's do it.
Yo, Curtis Blow is trash. We got to find a new intro song for basketball, man.
Well, you don't even hear his voice on there.
He's still trash. I'm about to get the camera on NBA song because that's trash right there. Anyway, NBA salary cap rises to $70 million, and because of that, like, yo, money is flying everywhere. Everybody is BMF. They blowing money fast, and it's going to get raised again. Can you believe it? Like, yo, there's so much money being thrown around in the NBA right now that it's crazy. Everybody is putting food on their family, and everybody is happy, getting fat, and the league will stink because of it.
Hey, but the crazy part is, Jim, all the deals were being offered before the cap even went up. Now, people were anticipating the increase, but even they didn't know that it was going to go up 11% from 63.1 million to 70 million. So that's the crazy part. So there's still extra money to be thrown around. But what they said people have to do is basically restructure some of the stuff that they're doing, that they're offering now, because you still have to spend at least 90% of the cap. And I don't know how the Sixers did that last year with the roster they have. How the hell did they spend 90% of the salary cap?
Jason Richardson probably took some of that.
Yeah, because you don't pay D-League players that much money. How did they make it to you know what, though? They almost didn't. That's why they had to steal Thomas Robinson off of waivers earlier in the season, because they weren't going to hit that threshold with the players that they had. So Thomas Robinson was expecting to clear waivers and sign with another team, and the Sixers snatched him up for salary cap purposes and didn't even really need him. Well, they need everything, but they didn't really want him.
Yeah, no,
it's crazy the way they throwing this money around, man.
Yeah, man, it definitely was crazy. You got guys that are getting contracts that I wouldn't know if they walked in here to the studio right now. Like, I just wouldn't know them. So, but hey, it is what it is, man. Everybody's raising money. There's a lot of Bentley dealerships right now going to prosper. There are a lot of young ladies in the sex industry who will prosper, and shout out to all of them. A lot of Baptist churches are going to get some huge donations. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to those parasites. So there's going to be a lot of people that prosper because of this contract with the NBA. But let's talk about someone who got a big contract, and it was the biggest fiasco in all of sports yesterday. It was very comical to me to follow this whole thing on Twitter. DeAndre Jordan, who we thought was going to the Mavericks, he reneged on a deal and decided to return to the Clippers. We know the whole story about him being locked in his house, about Chris Paul getting emotional, Blake being there. The funniest thing that come out of this yesterday was all the emojis from players from, like, present and past. It was just a big fiasco. Like Tobias said earlier, like, one thing lost in all this is like, yo, we're talking about DeAndre Jordan, but it still was amazing to see. What were your guys' overall thoughts on this whole soap opera yesterday?
I mean, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think it was crazy, and I mentioned it earlier, that all of this is going down over a center who averages 8 points and 9 rebounds. And you're going back to the team that you did that on. So, you know, they're telling you how much they need you and how much they love you. And, you know, they're not giving you the rock like Dallas was going to give you the rock, because you was going to be Shaq in Dallas, according to Mark Cuban. But I mean, of course, like Jimmy mentioned earlier, DeAndre has his role in today's NBA, and that role is a valuable one. So, you know, what they're paying, what they're offering him, that's not the surprise for me, but it's just the trouble that everybody went through for a player who would be looked at in yesterday's NBA as a marginal player. You know what I'm saying? Like, when did DeAndre Jordan become Bill Russell that teams have to be fighting over him like this? And it's funny that Jimmy said Chris Paul got emotional because Chris Paul don't even like the dude. They had to basically get Chris Paul on board to go with this to go along with this fiasco, to go to his house, basically have a camp out in his house and not leave until he decided to re-sign with the team. I think that was a little bit ridiculous. And I don't even know how legal that is, you know, within the NBA. I did read some articles where they're looking into that to see if the Clippers violated any NBA free agent contractual policies. But I just think the whole situation was crazy. And I mean, I hope DeAndre Jordan lives up to all of this hype that these teams are giving to him. What do you think, Chris?
I mean, the Clippers had to do it. They needed them. They didn't have any other options. You know, they traded Spencer Hawes. They didn't really have any bigs. I think Blake Griffin was like the tallest without DeAndre Jordan on the team. So, I mean, they needed him. He fit the system perfectly. Like, that's a perfect player in their system. So, I mean, too bad for that. Too bad for the Mavs, you know, because I feel bad because he didn't even answer their calls or anything. But you know,
so why didn't the Clippers show him this love before he signed with the Mavs in the first place? He would have never left the building if they would have showed him that they needed him this much.
Well, I don't know, man.
He probably called their bluff. Like, he ain't going nowhere. Like,
yeah.
They was like, he ain't got no offensive game on his own, and Chris Paul throw the best alley-oops in the league. He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. He really wasn't going. He knew he didn't want to go. You know, that was probably just for this. He just wanted to show, you know, some urgency from the Clippers or something.
Listen, my thing is, like, I've seen this before, but it's usually with women, right? Like, you don't give them the attention they want, so they go somewhere else to try to get the attention, and then you're like, all right, well, she was really cool. They really still want you, but they trying to like make you jealous by talking to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? But you know, and so you like, all right, well, she was cool, like, you know what I mean? She could cook, so you have to give her the attention that she wants. And that's kind of like what this was like, man. This whole thing goes to him just wanting attention. But at the end of the day, listen, he has a skill set that made sure they went and showed him attention. Chris is right. Is between Blake and Big Baby Davis is like their big man if he's gone. They lost Spencer Hawes. They lost Matt Barnes, who was like one of their best defensive players. So they have not only do they have a small team without him, but they don't even have a team that knows how to play defense. So Chris Paul probably said FOH.
They cut it real close though, because remember, you know, dudes could sign contracts at like midnight last night. So basically, the Mavs was about to wife her, and the Clippers came to the wedding and was like, when the preacher asked if anybody objects, like they stood up and made everything known because it was basically the 11th hour, and I've never seen anything quite like this in NBA. Like the definitely played with fire. They let their girl go out and do too much, and she almost got wifed up.
It could have got planned too, because a couple days before this, they were saying that he was texting teammates saying that he doesn't know if he made the right decision. So maybe they planned it so the Mavs didn't have any time, or they could have done something like that.
Well, you knew if he was texting teammates saying that, you know, the teammates ran back to the organization like, "Yo, we still got a chance, man."
Yep.
Like she told me that she still love you. She told me she still love you, man. All you gotta do is come for her.
Yo, I've been through this, man. What they'll do is they'll call or text one of your friends like
that they know is gonna tell you.
Decision. Exactly. This is what females do. The way this whole thing played out is completely hilarious. Shout to Frank Santos from the Sports King, because he was telling me yesterday, he was like, yo, at this point with the emojis, the locking of the door, him ignoring Mark Cuban, it was like, this is like reached 30 for 30 levels. And I agree with that. This in 10 years will be a 30 for 30 about like the DeAndre fiasco, like, and they're going to, you know, bring everybody in, what happened. And, you know, so it's kind of crazy, man. I don't know whether this puts him in position to win a title with him anyway, but I know that without him, their team was in trouble. But even with him, I don't know if it's enough, but it does give a better chance. But this whole thing is this whole thing was crazy.
At the end of the 30 for 30, as soon as they go right before the credits roll, and they're gonna say, and they did all of this for a player with career averages of 6 points and 8 rebounds.
Like, what if I told you the league stopped for a player who averaged 6?
Exactly. What if I told you? Exactly.
Like, yo, but it was
if I told you 6 and 8 was worthy of a league-wide fight.
But I tell you one thing, though, like, it was definitely entertaining. Like, it was very entertaining to see the players start going off with the ways they were traveling to go meet him, and Chris Paul with his banana boat, and then you got like Kobe comes in talking his trash, and then Michael Jordan, then Scottie Pippen, then James Worthy. Mike put up 6 championships. James Worthy straight claimed every chip the Lakers won. Like, it was 16. Like, I'm like, damn, Worthy. But that was pretty funny. But
the whole Chris Paul was out on his lover boy vacation with Melo and Bron and Wade.
His AAU boyfriends. What do you guys think about that, for one? What do you guys think about some of the best players in the entire league vacation together? Does it bother you, or do you think this is like, this is what it is?
Nah, that's just their personal life. That's just their personal life, They got a career, and they got their personal life.
You're right. Chris younger than us, man. You're from the next generation, man. I want these dudes to hate each other, man.
It's one of those things. It's one of those things, right, where you want them to hate each other. It is their personal life, as long as they can turn it on and off when they're in the court. But to me, it's like when I was a kid and I found out wrestling was fake, because I was on a boardwalk in Atlantic City. And I saw 2 dudes who were supposed to rumble that night, and they was like together chilling. So it's like it kind of breaks my heart. It kind of breaks my heart, but I know that this is what happens. You know what I'm saying?
But I understand
shout
in the
to Tito Santana.
Because Jimmy even says like AAU, because this is the roots of all the players who are in the league now. So a lot of these guys were friends and they know each other from those circuits. But to take it even farther than that, in the age of free agency, it's very difficult to be out there like hating on and disrespecting players like Joakim Noah does, because you never know these days when you're going to end up being somebody's teammate. Well, in the case of those guys that we're talking about, they made sure that they became teammates at one point. But at the same time, Jimmy mentioned something when he said, being able to turn it on and turn it off. That's my problem with the league these days, because when they're on the court, it doesn't seem like it's turned off. Like, you look at a dude like Kevin Garnett, because we always say how he's like he's like last of the dying breed. Like, even if Kevin Garnett is cool with you, once you get on the court, you notice he barely speak to a dude. A dude to try to come out and speak to him, and Kevin Garnett will ignore you, because once he gets between those lines, that's all business. And these guys don't turn that off. Like, they'll foul each other in the game and get up and hug and rub each other's shoulders for them. And it's just too much going on in the league these days, man. Like, it's taking the killer instinct away from the game, because you just don't want to put the smack down on your buddy like that. But come on, man.
Yeah,
that's why I didn't like the whole team up with LeBron and Wade and Bosh, because I thought LeBron and Wade was going to be the next rivalry that made the league exciting. And then they decided, no, let's play together. The hell with that. So,
man. I get that thing. Like, if you're on the same team, it's one thing, but when all you guys are in different teams and y'all meet up, like, to go ride a banana boat together. You know what I mean? Like, I'll tell you, it reminds me of wrestling, man. And by the way, I just want to send a shout out to
first
Tito
of all,
Santana.
they could have had a more manly photo than them riding a banana boat.
Yeah, I want to send a shout out to Tito Santana and Greg the Hammer Valentine, because you guys ruined wrestling for me. But that's a whole nother story.
Tito fraud.
Yeah, y'all was frauding. I caught y'all frauding. You know what I mean?
The boardwalk holding hands.
Now we got some comments in the chat room. Skyview says that this DeAndre Jordan fiasco, open NBA eyes, there's no big man left in the league. Pause. He said Cuban should be able to sue DeAndre Jordan and the Clippers. And Guest 1441 says he didn't sign anything. It was a verbal commitment that can always be retracted. It happens all the time in sports.
You know what though? Guest 1441 has a point, Jim. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I was going to say that this could be considered like tortious interference because they passed on so many other free agents. Now, the thing is, they could bring the suit, whether they'll win or not is one thing, because I don't understand, and I haven't done the research on this, so, but this whole thing, and Dev, you brought it up earlier, too, about why this waiting period.
Right, that's what I was about to say.
Can someone explain the waiting period to me? And maybe that's how the Clippers can get away with this, but, considering all the other
but also, Jim, that might be why the Mavericks have a case. That's why I said Guest 1441 made a good point that he didn't sign anything, but that's not the Mavericks' fault that he didn't sign anything. If they could have signed him the next morning after he agreed to the deal, I'm pretty sure they would have. But the NBA has this mandatory 8-day waiting period from the time that free agents can agree and the time that they can actually sign. That kind of makes things unfair, but maybe that's what they do it for. Maybe they're leaving that wiggle room just in case you think you made the wrong decision. You got a chance to renege on that. So we got to kind of see what the actual rules are on that. But as a team, I would hate that waiting period. I would really hate that.
That's kind of what I don't understand the logic in that rule or whatever. Guest 1441 says it's to the league, not the player. I agree with that.
Oh, no doubt. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that was on the table. No, they can't sue the player. That's not even possible.
He could cry to the Clippers though, because with the whole way it went down with them locking him in, sending out pictures of the door, and they're at his house, and he's not. He could come after the Clippers. I don't know how successful he would be in anything, but not the player at all. But I don't understand the logic behind this 8-day thing. I have to do some research, but it's kind of weird. It's definitely kind of weird.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Anyway, this whole DeAndre thing, like we said, is a 30 for 30 by itself. But there's something else I want to ask you guys about. I want to get your honest opinion. Don't give me none of the PC nonsense, and I don't want to hear any cliches. David West, he took a $10 million pay cut
almost
to
11
play for the San Antonio Spurs. Yeah, almost 11 to play for the Spurs. And I guess the idea is to win a championship. Was that a smart decision for David West? Chris, I want to get your opinion on this. Would you have took a $10 million pay cut to play for the Spurs?
Yeah, I think he made enough money in his career. He had a couple decent-sized contracts, so so did
Antoine Walker. So did Allen Iverson.
But he's probably more financially stable than those guys. But it's like, why not? He only has a few years left, right? That he's probably going to be a productive player. So why not try to win a championship in those years and try something special? Because at the Spurs got LaMarcus Aldridge, that made him number one contender in the West. So.
Now, for the same reasons that you said, why not, is the same reasons that I can go the other way. I'd say, why do it? Because you only have a few years left. You're working in a profession that, for the average person lasts 3 years, sports. But okay, let's say you have a career like him that's 10 plus years. Either way, most people out in the workforce out here working for 30 years before they retire and get their pension. You're working in a profession for like 10 to 12 years for even most good players. You don't have time, even though you make good money. You know what I'm saying? You're not sitting around for 30 years. This is the type of profession where you have to get as much money as you can while you can get it, because tomorrow is never promised. And I can understand, players wanting to win a championship. And I've been arguing with people about that all week, about David West wanting to win a championship. Let me tell you one thing. If the Spurs win a championship next year and David West is a part of the team, nobody on this planet is going to credit David West's legacy with a championship because he joined the Spurs as a backup and won a championship. So, okay, he might want to satisfy his own need, but it's still not the same as David West in Indiana when he was a major cog, a major part on the team. So I just don't think it's worth it, because bottom line, after the Spurs, after they finish with him, they don't owe him anything because he's not a lifelong Spur. So, it's like, what next if they don't win the championship? And we can count people's money all we want and say they've made enough and they've done this, and he might feel comfortable with his money to do it. But Then on the other hand, fans always want to talk about how there's no loyalty in sports from the organizations, and they kick you to the curb whenever they want, and they do you wrong about your money and this and that. I think he's playing himself, basically. And that's not really a popular opinion because I've been in debates all week about it, but I think he's playing himself.
Nah.
My thing is this though, like, it's no guarantee you'll win a championship anyway. I understand you're going for it, what have you, but give me that $11 million. I can buy rings for my whole family. Like, I'm on the other side, man. Like, you're a role player. This is not like, Charles Barkley joining a team at the end of his career, try to get a ring to solidify his career. David West will never get credit for a championship to the Spurs. He's probably like the 8th person that'll get credit if they win. Like, especially considering that Aldridge just signed. He's not going to get credit. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't really think he cares about the credit. I think it's just for just to satisfy him personally because he wants an NBA championship. So.
You don't think $11 million to satisfy him personally?
Me, even if I won an NBA championship, like how satisfied am I really going to be if I wasn't that great of a part of it? I mean, it's the Spurs, so a lot of people rest on the Spurs. You're going to get a decent amount of playing time, maybe until the playoffs start. I don't know how that's going to work out in the rotation. But bottom line, you're an add-on. You're less than a mid-level exception add-on. You're a $1.4 million veteran add-on. That's what I'm saying. Like, his legacy isn't going to change no matter what happens. But I mean, it's obviously for personal reasons because by now somebody had to tell David West that this is the case. But I just don't think, especially for a team that you've never been a part of, I don't think you take that kind of a pay cut. So you had one more year left. You could have played out your last year at $13 million and then went and chased the championship next year.
Yeah, but we don't know future plans
because they're not going to care about you later. I'm telling you, if God forbid something crazy happens where David West goes broke, what the Spurs going to do for him then? They going to send him a check?
I'm guessing he's financially stable enough to do something like this. So I think he has a plan. So I think he made enough money. You know what I mean? I know what you're saying, but I think he made enough money to live his entire life. Probably the way he wanted to live. All he wanted to do was win the championship. So he went to the.
I agree with that. Being a human being that's broke, I understand that. Like, I look at that situation, and what he's made is more than enough for me to live my lifestyle, but my lifestyle is different from the lifestyle of somebody who's used to being wealthy. You know what I'm saying? And I don't look at David West as the Antoine Walker type and the Allen Iverson type. I don't look at him as some, frivolous dude who just goes out and blows all his money. So I'm pretty sure that you're right. Making this type of decision, he probably is set for life. But I still just think in a profession where they don't really care about you, you know what I'm saying? It's about what you can do for them. I just don't think you give them this type of, I don't think you give them this type of power. I think you get your money when you can get it.
Guest 1441 in our chat room says that was a huge pay cut. That's the point I'm trying to make. It wasn't like he went, from 14 million to
mid-level
5 or 7. He didn't take a mid-level. He went down playing for
he on the rookie scale, Jim.
But that's like.
He on the rookie scale right now.
But he wanted to go to the Spurs, and that's the contract he had to take to be able to go to the Spurs.
He almost veteran minimum right now.
I just think that the whole thing of winning a championship, like at the end of the day, man, like it's all about the narrative being told. When history is told of the league, no one will care about whether David West won or not. And he says it could be a personal goal. But when you have these personal goals, when you're a kid, you think about winning a championship. You don't think about signing for $15 million less and being, the third guy off the bench to win a championship. Like, no. So at this point, you get as much money as humanly possible, and you go ahead and play. Like, he could have signed somewhere else where he could have got more money and still competed for a championship. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was other opportunities for him.
But
he played specifically for the Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, he felt like that was the best place. He probably feels like they will win the championship next year. So, that's what.
Now I'm rooting against him just because of David West.
Skyview in the chat room said Juwan Howard is flashing his NBA championship ring somewhere right now. I had to tell him, and nobody he's flashing it in front of is impressed. They gonna be like, oh yeah, you were on that Heat team, weren't you?
Yo, Ray Allen was a big part of them winning that, and he probably won't even get credit for that shit. He'll get credit for the one in Boston, but it's like, yo, when you play certain positions on the team,
he hit the shot to
still won't get credit.
Really to keep him in the first one.
It's like, man, the whole thing.
Robert Horry got 7 rings, and I still disrespect him every day. So
exactly. John Sally got like 5 with like 3 different teams. Nobody cares.
And all together, on all those teams and all those 5 rings, he got a total of like 100 minutes. Like a total of 100 minutes. Like nobody cares that John Sally has rings.
Spider. Anyway, man, so that's an interesting story right there, man. We'll see what happens, man. But y'all think I'm joking?
Good luck to David West, man.
Yo, speaking of making money in the NBA,
I like David West.
I like him too because I think that David West like chumps people. Like I think he's a real tough guy. So I mess with
because he quietly does it too. Like he not rah about it. He just look at you and you be like, all right, I'm sorry, David.
Speaking of making money in the National Basketball Association, Kevin Garnett just signed another 2-year deal. He'll be only the 3rd player ever to reach 21 years in the NBA. I know Kareem played that long. Who the 2 players? You know that who played that long?
I had it earlier, and I don't know. I'll find it though.
That's a long ass time. But also Garnett did come in the league as a young ball. This
is an example of a dude that cakes up whenever it's time to cake up. Garnett, like. He shouldn't even have a 2-year deal. Who the hell is going to pay Kevin Garnett for another 2 years? But he found a way to do it. And over his career, he's made like $320 million. That's just from NBA salary. That's not even from endorsements that he had. Yeah, like KG taking up.
I mean, that's just a veteran presence on a young team because they got a young team. A lot of rookies, second-year, third-year players. So.
I think he could be great for them, but at the same time, he could be detrimental to them because you already read stories last year, like when he walked into the locker room, dudes were afraid. Like somebody was like, "Yo, you better put your phone away because KG don't play that in the locker room." And, cats these days not really, they don't really respect what you've done. And the longer KG plays, the more younger people forgot what he was in this league.
Yo, so, I saw him. Like when they put that Mount Rushmore of positions or whatever in KG's name, yo, I saw people talk about KG like he was the worst player ever. Like, and even myself when I watch him now and he literally does nothing. He just runs up and down the court. He does nothing at all. He doesn't grab rebounds. He doesn't defend. He just looks real tough and goes back and forth down the court. Like I forget myself that at one point he was the best player in the world. By the way, I saw Robert Parrish play for 21 years. Kareem played for 20. I couldn't find somebody else with 21 though. I know Kareem had 20 and Parrish had 21. But shout out to the Chief, Robert Parrish, Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? Shout out to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the greatest player ever.
Yeah, it's Robert Parrish and Kevin Willis, yo. I didn't even know it was Kevin Willis. He just stuck around.
Oh yeah, Skyview and 1441 told us that it's Kevin Willis.
Oh, I should have just went to the chat room then. I'm looking it up.
Yo, Kevin Willis, I remember him for the Spurs. Like, I don't know what he was there for. He was literally just sitting there. Like, I thought he was cool.
Yo, Kevin Willis, he always remind me of a T-Rex because he was a big cat, but he had like these really short arms. Like, I never understood. And he was damn near 7 foot and he wore like a size 12 shoe. Like, yeah, little arms and little feet.
His arms was definitely too short to box with God. But yo, people forget though, when Kevin Willis played for the Hawks, he had a little game though. At one point he was nice, but
he was strong too. He's a chump dude, like just on the boards.
It's gonna be some dudes that break that record too. Because if you look at the NBA now, it's so many dudes that are 7-footers that can't play and haven't been able to play in 10 years that are just sitting on the back of somebody's bench collecting checks, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
Hey, Jim, the funny thing is Greg Oden might be the dude to break it. He never plays, but he's always on the roster. Greg Oden gonna be in the league for like 25 years, and nobody will know.
Your man Brendan Haywood stay on the roster, man.
Well, you know who's still in the league? Nazi Muhammad is still in the league.
Nazi Muhammad, I knew you were going to say that. Nazi Muhammad's still getting a check. Yo, unbelievable. Yo, is Theo Ratliff somewhere? Please tell me Theo Ratliff retired.
Yeah, I hope so. Anyway, I want to see somebody corny break this record.
Shout out to K. Yo, that would be funny. Somebody corny. Like Kevin Willis is a little corny, but he's all right. Like and Parrish is, I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. But yeah, I mean, Kareem played a dub. He's right there. Speaking of 7-footers, though, I don't know if you guys seen Ja, as we're calling him. In the summer league, Jahlil Okafor has been playing pretty well. What do you guys think about Ja? Ja told you.
Good pick. Good pick.
I told you that your Lakers should pick
that fell in their lap. I mean,
yeah,
I
they have a choice. Night. They didn't even want a big man, but how can you not take that pick if the Lakers leave him to be like that?
Right. I mean, go ahead.
I think he got rookie of the year potential. And that's not off that one game. I thought that anyway. But he did show you in his first 2 summer league games that, you know, he has some skills to play in this league. I mean, it's going to be different once the season starts and he's no longer going against other rookies and other young dudes trying to make rosters and D-leaguers, and he's going to start going against Anthony Davises of the world and the Boogie Cousins of the world, and even the old heads like Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett. The little bit of minutes he gonna get, he gonna at least he not gonna let you chump him.
Yeah,
that's all he got left. He ain't got the skills, but he's not gonna let you chump him.
A shout out to Anthony Davis, who didn't change his mind. He signed that contract as soon as he could possibly get it. But
I think he might have signed a napkin that night they went out for steak just to make sure they weren't joking about the money they were getting.
But in terms of Jahlil, like, I mean, he fell right in their lap. He's playing the same guy that he dominated on college. It's a reason why, for the most part, this whole year they were talking about him being the number 1 pick. So it's not shocking at all. I was shocked the Lakers didn't take him. You know, D'Angelo Russell. We'll see what happens. But the Sixers had to take him. The one thing that's funny to me is I sent Dev. I don't know the pick I sent you earlier of Embiid. Like, Embiid hit the gym crazy. Like, Embiid right now is walking around like cock diesel, pause. But he never can stay healthy. But
I'm about to say he can't run, so all he can do is lift.
He can't run, so all he can do is lift. I saw him stand next to Okafor. I was like, if he ever got healthy, the Sixers would be like,
right, the Sixers are going to be good.
Hey, people keep talking about trading one of the big men. I'm like, why? They're all still unproven young talent. You keep all 3 of them and you let the chips fall where they may. You don't gamble right now and bank on somebody. You let somebody become a star, and then if you want to use them as a trade commodity, then you do that. But you see which 2 of these dudes become the best players, and then you use the 3rd dude because they're all talented. You use the 3rd dude for trade bait when it comes to that. But right now, it's a great problem to have.
Listen, if they could all get healthy, I wouldn't trade any of them. I'd run like Kentucky did last year. We running with all y'all. Like,
And Jim, Nazi working on year 18, Nazi gonna make it.
How is Nazi gonna do it? 18 years in the league.
Nazi gonna do it.
Come on, man. That's unfair, man. The basketball guys, man, that's unfair, yo. But anyway, man, in terms of Jahlil, like, the performance is not surprising, but if I was the Sixers, I'd keep all 3 of those guys. If they could ever get healthy, and that's a big if, it'd be nice to see how they would run with all them, Guest 1441 said, did we hear that C.J. Wilson for Tampa had 2 fingers amputated? Yeah, pretty much. We talked about that a little bit earlier.
Yeah, there's a lot of dudes losing digits, man. 4th of July, dangerous, man. People digits.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing I want to ask you guys real quick, in terms of this whole inter-squad scrimmage thing and summer league, the Minnesota Timberwolves were drawing 15,000 fans to watch them scrimmage. Is that impressive or what?
It's impressive, and you can see why, man. They have some major young talent on their team, man. They got the last 3 number 1 picks on their team. So the fans need to get behind it now, even though, it's a little bandwagony, but it's an early bandwagon. You get them while they're young and talented, not wait until they get good so you can say you were along for the whole ride, because they're going to be something to watch, even if they're not like championship contenders. They're going to at least give that city something to watch. So shout out to them.
For the last like 18 years, I've been getting the NBA League Pass, even though I say every year I'm not going to get it. I've been getting League Pass since Nazir Muhammad was a rookie. But But the reason I'm bringing that up is because the Minnesota Timberwolves are one of those teams that are always fun to watch, even though they're not really that good or haven't been that good. But if they can make some moves, man, like this is going to be a very exciting team, man. So shout out to them and what they did, man. And shout out to everybody in the Summer League. Chris, Dev, it's time for us to get out of here. Thanks, everybody, for joining us in the War Room, good people. Shout out to everybody in the chat room, those on Facebook and Twitter. We appreciate all the support. Those that called, we appreciate those that called. Those we didn't get to, we apologize. Special thanks to Chris, the intern, for joining us to give us his perspective. Tune in next week, same time, same place, live right here on demand on the WRS Podcast Network. Target Sports Talk. NFL training camp coming up, everybody. More NBA news, Major League Baseball All-Star Week, all kinds of stuff going on. Plus, some people will get arrested, lose. So until then, enjoy your week, and we'll catch you back here next week. Everything, WarRoomSports.com, at War Room Sports on social media. As we always say, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance. We'll see you chumps on top.
What are those?
Jimmy, know the blueprint. Every Thursday, 6 to 8, they do this. Shout out to Dev, PJ, B. Austin, Doc Bay on replay. WarRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app. If not, dial 323-140012. They be going and you sensitive, then oh well. Physical podcast, let's talk sports. Showtime like Magic in the box court. Listen live, push one to join in. Rip your team or listen for your enjoyment. Hip-hop scholars, pit-stop knowledge. Should be in sports credits, I ain't talking college. 5 guys, no beef though. Corporate secret, but the streets know. Belafonte, I got a G flow. KC royalty, I'm in beast mode. 2 hours, get your game up. Who's the best in sportscast? You better name us. War Room Sports. Yeah, you know, Jimmy, Dev, DJ, Jack Bay, B. Austin. I'm Jack. Up and coming on the beat.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.